Shinkando seshaka punatwi kale pansaka shicharna nalete yashi. Shinkando seshaka punatwi kale pansaka shicharna nalete yashi. Yashinshi yorine twalalanda kufunda bantu balekyo kupatana. Yashinshi yorine twalalanda kufunda bantu balekyo kupatana. Umayanda pamachitone mitundo yonse palamute mwanu. Umayanda pamachitone mitundo yonse palamute mwanu. Palamute mwanu chikotene sasa. Palamute mwanu. Palamute mwanu chikotene sasa.
Good evening, my friends. This is Frank Saliki. This is TV Bakwetu, and this is Thursday Night Motivation. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful week so far in everything that you've been doing. I hope it's been a productive week for you. So Thursday night means time for motivation. It's always great to think about things that we can do. You know, one thing that so many people feel is they feel so powerless. Their lives are seem to be determined by the some circumstances that they find themselves in. And I always say, you know what, it's not the circumstances, it's not what you find yourself in, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens to you that will determine whether your life is going to be a success or not. We've all got something special, and most of the time we just never see that special. We never seem to get that special seed to come to fruition for one reason or another. And this week I've been pondering on one thing. What holds so many people back? What holds so many people back from achieving great things in their lives? What holds so many people from succeeding in their lives? I see people with talents every day. I see people with great talents, great abilities, but they just don't seem to have that drive, that determination to take themselves up to the level that they need to be. They either blame it on circumstances, or they say, I haven't got the connection, or I haven't got that and the other in my life. I think for me, if I had that attitude in everything that I did, I could never have done the things that I've done. I could never have achieved the things I've achieved. The attitude of focusing on what is missing in your life is an attitude that is going to steal away your glory. It's an attitude that is going to steal away the success that you might win. An attitude of focusing on what is missing in your life is what brings about fear. When you've got something that is missing, you're always going to be fearful. If you think, you know what, there's other people around me are more educated than me, that becomes a thing that drives you. It doesn't drive you to success, it drives you away from success. What you want is to have things that are going to inspire you, to motivate you, not demotivate you or fill your life with fear. For me, I always say to people, you don't have to be great to get started. You have to get started to become great. We all have to start from somewhere. Nobody has become great by not doing anything about the dream that they have. The people that we talk about, if we talk about greatness, the great minds you can think about are the people who have taken action on everything that they really want to do. And what I want to really talk about this evening is finishing what we start. I always think about the new year, right? New year, there's that excitement that this is a brand new year. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do that and the other. But so many people never get to do that and the other. They never get to do the things that they plan. And it's because that excitement of the new year disappears. They discover that the work that they need to do is difficult, so they never do. And every year they have New Year's resolutions and they never succeed in anything. And some people have the same New Year's resolution. They always say, this is what I'm going to do, but they talk about the same thing every year. It's simply because they never do one thing that is important: finishing what they start. Finishing what they start. There's one memory that has stayed with me when I talk about finishing what you start. Is a friend of mine who was doing so many courses. He, uh, I saw him one day and he said, I found this wonderful life coaching course. It's so good. I'm going to do this. I saw him 3 weeks later. He said, I found this wonderful business coaching course. It's really good. The 4 times I met him, he had started a new course and he had given up on the ones that he started. What then ended up happening in 2 years, he had signed up to all these courses, but he had not finished any. And even though these courses that he signed up to could have given him so many skills, could have opened so many doors for him, but because he never finished those courses, he never got to see the rewards of what those courses could have brought in his life. And this is a story of so many people starting new things with excitement. But then there comes a point when that excitement disappears. They go back to doing the things that they've always been doing, or they go back to looking for something new. So what happens is they're just looking for something new. I remember about a year ago, this young chap finished university and he was so excited about what the future is going to hold. And then 3 months in the job, he said, he saw me in the corridor and he said, "Oh, Frank, I'm looking for a new job." So I said, "Why are you looking for a new job? Not been here long enough." And he said, "Oh, this job there's no opportunity in this job." I said to him, "What do you mean there's no opportunity in this job? You've only been here for 2 seconds. Already you're thinking about giving up." And I worry that my generation, or people my generation, and people younger than me, they've got this attitude of they start something, and if it's not going to plan in the first week, they think, you know what, it's time to do something else. So they end up moving from one thing to another, and they don't finish anything. They never see anything through. So, in order to be successful at anything, you have to become a man or a woman who sees something through. Let me give you an example. If you know a builder, and that builder's got a reputation to say, you know what, that builder starts houses, but he never finishes any of the houses. If you're building a house, are you going to hire that builder? Of course you're not. You're going to say, he never finishes anything, she never finishes anything. I'm not hiring them. I want somebody with a track record of completing what they start. And my friends, that's a track record successful people have. Successful people finish what they start. Successful people don't start something, then they look at something and that excites them a bit more, so they move on to another one. And then when they see another thing that excites them, they move on to that thing. They see things through. And this is a person you have to become. You have to see things through. People have to start what they do, whatever you want to do. You have to finish what you start. I'm thinking of our own founder of TV Bakwetu, Dr. Elias Musha, who was appointed the ambassador, the High Commissioner for Australia, just on Monday. And for me, it was an example of somebody who starts something and halfway through does not stop, but he just keeps going and gets the reward for it. Some people call him praise singer. but it's a work that he put in into doing to getting the rewards that we want. So what I'm trying to say, my friends, is any reward that we want in life, we have to put effort in. We have to make sure that we do the work. We have to make sure that every single day we're waking up and putting the work in, and that the things that we start, we finish. I want us to understand, as long as we don't finish anything, we're never going to be successful. As long as we got a track record of not finishing anything, we're not going to be successful. Let us take ourselves into men and women who finish what they start. Now, I call myself an author. Why do I call myself an author? Okay. I know a few friends of mine who call themselves authors, and I always ask them, why do you call yourselves authors? And they always say, I'm still writing my book, or I'm still writing my manuscript 5 years later. So I said to them, I only call myself an author because I've got a book that was published. That the day I wrote my book and the day this became a finished product, that was a day that I, Frank Saliki, was recognized by people in the world as an author. If I did not have anything out there, if I was writing something in my study here and nothing was published, nobody would know me as an author because I haven't written anything that they can see. In order for anyone to be recognized as a doctor, they have to go to medical school. They have to go to medical school and graduate and then be recognized as a doctor. When they're studying, the student doctors, obviously, but nobody recognizes them as being medical doctors until they qualify. What I'm trying to say, my dear friends, is in order to see the rewards of anything, we have to see it through. We have to get to the end. At this point now, I want to address the reason why people never finish what they start. First of all, when we start something, a lot of time we've got an excitement of how things are going to be, excitement how things are going to turn out. One thing that we never take into account when you start something new is the fact that it will be difficult. It will be hard. There's going to be obstacles along the way. And so many people, when they meet the first obstacle, they stop what they're doing. They quit on that project and they go and find something, hoping if it's going to be easy. So they end up moving from one project to another because they cannot see themselves overcoming the obstacles that they find themselves in. There's a book that I read a few months ago. It says obstacle is the way. An obstacle should not be something that stops you from achieving your dream. An obstacle is something that you learn from. An obstacle is something that makes you strong. I want you to understand. I come to the second point of why so many people give up, why so many people never finish what they start. A lot of people think success is what you get. So somebody might say, you know what, I want to study that course because they think that's going to give them a lot of money. Or they want to start a certain business because that is going to give them money. And along the way, 2-3 months later, they're not making the amount of money they thought they were going to make. They give up because they think success is all about material things. Success is not what you get. Success is who you become. Success is not what you get. Success is who you become. I want you to think about this. I can lose my home tomorrow. That is a byproduct of my success. It's a byproduct of what I have done. I've got a book. That is not success. That is a byproduct of my success. So many people, what we do is we have mistaken byproducts with what success is. So what you find is so many people will try to say, I am successful by borrowing a car. I can turn up here every single week and say, hey, look, I'm successful. Can you see my wonderful suit? Hey, this is my wonderful suit. I'm successful, doesn't it? But you might not realize that, oh, I've just borrowed a suit for my friend. And that maybe every time I come on TV, I just borrow a suit. because it's very impressive. It's an impressive things to do. So this is the things that we follow, and we're living in a time on social media where so many people will try and prove to everybody else what they have. And I say with people, they got what we call the social media life. Okay, this perfect life where people will spend money instead of buying nice food, instead of buying nice food to eat at home, they will spend money to buy bundles so they can take more pictures to show the world how wonderful they're doing. And they're going to bed hungry because we're living in a world where keeping up with the Joneses has become a thing. I always say everybody wants to be like everybody else, but everybody else doesn't know what everybody else is. It takes away your joy. It takes away from from the things that you want. You never get to finish the things that you want because when you're working on that journey, you're not getting the things other people are getting. You're not getting things your friends are getting. You're not living, you don't seem to be living the high life. So you start finding shortcuts of doing the things that you want. Okay, we're living in a time when college students, university students wants to have things that that people who have worked for 10 years have. We have to understand that it is a process that we are on. It's a process of what we have to work on each and every time. That there are certain things that you're not going to have in your 20s. That we have to understand that a lot of times in our 20s, it's time for work, it's time to develop, it's time to grow. And just because other people around you seem to be getting a lot of other things, that doesn't mean you have to give up on the things that you want. The other element that stops people from achieving the things that they want is they want things now. They want things quickly. If they think about success, it's all going to happen now. I began my motivational speaking journey in 2014. I did not do my first motivational engagement until 2019. In all that time, it was a learning process, it was a growing process, it was a learning, developing, and learning about myself and learning about the field and learning about the industry. I was not capable of speaking to you as I am speaking right now. When I first began, it was a learning process. So you have to understand that you don't have to be great to get started. You have to get started to become great. Most of the time we see other people are doing the things that we want to do, and we give up because we say they're doing it a lot better than I could ever do it. But what we don't take into account is that that particular individual that we're comparing ourselves to has a years of training. Somebody sent me a message a few days ago saying, I would like to speak like you, but I don't think I can. And my answer was simple. Yes, you can. You just have to have years of practice. You have to start now. Do you know if you study a subject in 5 years, if you study a subject in 5 years, every day you read 2 hours in that subject, in 5 years' time, you can be one of the experts. Why are there very few experts? Simply because so many people are not willing to put in the time that it takes to become an expert. And so many people never finish what they start because they don't put in the time that is required to finish the things that they start. So these are the things, my friends, that we have to work on to understand that the gift that we have, we have to use it. We have to make it grow. We have to learn. We have to develop. That is a thing that we have to remember each and every day of our lives. We've got a talent. We've got talents, and so many people are not seeing the fruits of their talent simply because they never use them, or they never stay long enough on one project. They move on from one project to another. They never see anything through. They never finish anything. So the one thing that we have to have, finishing what we start. Instant gratification stops us from finishing what we want. In any goal that we set ourselves, we have to set ourselves long range goals, Because my friends, you have to ask yourself, if I keep on doing what I'm doing, what am I going to become in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? I'm thinking of this way. I'm going to talk about Dr. Muncher again. I think about the things that he's done, the subjects he's done, how many degrees he's got, the time and the hours and the effort that goes into doing all those things. And in finishing all those degrees and taking his life to where he brought it and to where he's going to be. That involved a lot of finishing the things that we want. So we have to ask ourselves a very important question. What do I want to be doing in 10 years from now? Don't ask tomorrow. Don't ask about next month, right? Ask yourself in 10 years' time, 10 years from now, for 5 years from now, what's the one thing that you want to be doing with your life? What's the one thing where would you want your life to be? What would you like your life to be like? You know, when a man or a woman makes up their mind of what they're going to do, they're not going to look at petrol prices. They're not going to look at what's happening in the economy. They're not going to look at what other people are saying. They're going to do what they want to do. I get people who say to me, oh, you know what, I'd like to do that and the other, but I just haven't got the resources. And I always say the same thing. It's not the lack of resources that is holding you back. It's a lack of resourcefulness. It's a lack of resourcefulness. A friend of mine, I was at a university. He came from Ghana, and he was paying international fees, so he's paying a lot of money. And by the time his parents paid his university fees, he didn't have a lot of money to play around with. There wasn't any money. But you know what he did? He decided, you know what, I'm going to do the car wash thing. I'm going to make sure that brings me in some resources. It was resourcefulness in the way he was going to get those things. You know, and that's the one thing that stops so many people from finishing what they start, because they look at their resources and they say, how am I going to finish this? It's the ability to be resourceful that is going to help you to complete the projects that you're doing. That will help you to finish the things that you start. I get disheartened when I see emails, so many emails pouring in, asking me to send people money. Now, sometimes I get hundreds and hundreds of these messages, so I'm not sending money. Otherwise, I will be sending all my earnings back to everyone who's asking for money. But the question I always ask, what have you done? What have you done to earn that money? What have you done to raise that money? What have you done? How resourceful are you? Resourcefulness, my friends, is so important if we're ever going to transform our lives. Resourcefulness is so important if we're going to see our lives transform. So it's a thing that we have to look at. So we have to set our long-term goals. We have to be resourceful. We have to be patient. We have to be really patient if we're going to finish what we start. A lot of things that we do, I think of me writing my books. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. You sit there. Most of the time I would sit there about 6 hours at a time, just sat there writing. Sometimes I will do 2-hour stints of writing. That requires a lot of patience, and that requires a lot of persistence. So we got to be persistent. Persistent is one of those things that will help you. You have to understand this. There's so many talented people out there. Unsuccessful people with talent. Genius is almost a proverb, but persistent and faith alone are omnipotent. That to have that faith in our dreams, in our own ability to say, this is what I'm going to do. Finishing anything that you start in your life is what is going to transform what you are, who you're going to become, and how you're going to enjoy your life. So many talented people could be enjoying their lives, could be doing wonderful things, but they're not doing those things simply because they give up when the going gets tough. When the going gets tough, it's not an excuse to give up. It's an excuse to be a lot more resourceful, an excuse to ask yourself, what can I do? So many people never ask the question, what can I do despite of what's going on right now? What can I do despite of what is going on right now, despite the setbacks, despite the lack of finances, despite the lack of that and the other? What can I still do? When you realize that the power to change your life lies within you, nothing stops you from doing anything. When you realize that the power to transform your life lies within you, nothing is ever going to stop you from achieving wonderful things in your life. So many people are not changing their lives simply because they don't realize that that power lies within them. Do you know how wonderful it felt in my life, having grown up being bullied throughout school? And to realize that the power to transform my life, the power to get anything in this world lies within me. That it's not my circumstances that should dictate what I do, but what is how I respond to what happens. What happened to me is what's going to dictate how my life is going to be. And my friends, when you realize something, that your past has not, your difficult past is not holding you back, but it's giving you so many lessons, that's when you're going to finish. I hear so many people say, I'm just not good at finishing anything, and they don't. That's the message they tell themselves. Who told you you're not good at finishing anything? As long as you've got an attitude that says, I can't finish anything, you're never going to finish anything. As long as you've got an attitude that is going to finish anything, you're not going to finish anything. I've just got a message there that said, can you briefly talk about the fuel prices? I'm afraid for Thursday night motivation, it's motivation. There's a time and there's a place, and we got more programs coming in by the end of the week. There's going to be more programs, and people are going to discuss the fuel prices. And I'm sure my big brother Aka on Saturday will touch on that as well. So there's so many opportunities to be able to do that. And I tell you why on Thursdays I never go back to look at what is going on. And it's because there's so many things. We're really focusing on so many things that we can't control. We're focusing so many things on can't control. And I try on Thursday to focus on the things that we can control, creating inner peace. And really focusing, and this is important in terms of finishing the things that we start. So many people struggle to finish what they start because their focus is so much on the things that they cannot control. And here's why I say that. The two things I call them. First of all, focus. I call them FFA. Focus, feel, act. So what you focus on, okay, what you focus on will determine how you're going to feel. And how you're going to feel will determine what action you're going to take. I repeat that. What you focus on will determine how you're going to feel. And how you're going to feel will determine what you're going to focus on. Just got a message. What is a focus of what is? I've just joined. What is a topic of discussion? The topic of discussion is finish what you start, Abraham. Finish what you start is the focus of discussion. So what you focus on will determine how you're going to feel. And how you're going to feel will determine the actions that you're going to take. So if you're working on a project and you're focusing on how impossible it is to finish, okay, how impossible it is to go through, what are you going to do? How are you going to feel? You're going to feel demotivated. You're going to feel discouraged. Now you feel discouraged. What is your next course of action? Your next course of action is going to be by not taking action, or by giving up, or by saying, I'm going to do something else. So the one thing that I do whenever I reach obstacle is, okay, what will I focus on in this instance? Remember, I was doing a job and I had to walk away on the job because the manager was not very nice to me. And at that point, I had I just bought a house. I had a mortgage to pay for, and then I had a wedding to plan for. So I had all these things I had to plan for. And this job was not working out. So then I walked out on this job. And at that point, I had a choice of what I was going to focus on. Okay. I had a choice of what I was going to focus on. I was either going to focus on the fact that I've got no job anymore and I've got all these things to pay. I was going to focus on looking for a new job. And because my focus went on looking for a new job, I was motivated to find a job. So I felt motivated, and because I felt motivated, I took action to find a new job. And 2 weeks later, I found a new job. What you focus on will determine whether you're going to finish something or not. So when it comes to taking action, when it comes to transforming our lives, for just determining what we're going to focus on is what is important. If you're going to focus on the lack of resources you have in the lack of resources you don't have in your life, the lack of resources you have in your life, you're probably not going to do it. If you're going to focus on how resourceful you can be despite of the lack of resources, you're going to do it. And a lot of time, my friends, that is a different. The people who are determined, the people who finish things that they start, are people who are determined to succeed, are the people who are determined to see through what they start. So, my friend, this is a determinant factor for so many people when it comes to success in life. So many people simply don't finish the things that they start. So many people work on projects and just do not complete them. So, my friends, when it comes to becoming a finisher, how you can become a finisher in your life, is understanding how could you maintain focus, mindset after a series of negative, disruptive circumstances? That's a very, very good question. So, one thing that I had at university, um, despite suffering from depression and anxiety, one thing that I had was a goal of what I wanted to achieve. Because a lot of times what we do, Vincent, is we say I want to achieve something, but we haven't got a clear, defined goal. You have to have a clear, defined goal of where you want to go, so that that goal becomes the road and staff that comforts you in those difficult times, in those difficult moments. And when I talk about difficult moments, I'm not just talking about difficult moments because a relationship was broke down. I'm talking about difficult moments where somebody loses their parents, or difficult moments where somebody loses funding, or difficult moments where people are at the point where they have to withdraw from a course because there's no money for them to be able to finish that course. So it might be very hard to maintain motivation in those cases, very hard to maintain focus in those cases, because you've got all these financial worries that you've got to think about. But the one thing that you have to have is understanding that, what am I going to have if I finish my course? And I think a lot of time as young people, we go to universities and we never really think of the one thing that we want. At the end of the course, what's the one thing that you want in order to achieve the things that you want to achieve? When I graduated from university, I suffered a lot of racism in a lot of jobs that I applied for, jobs that I worked for. But the one thing that kept me going, even though I was being overlooked for promotion, even though I was overlooked for other tasks that could have given me opportunities, was actually having that goal there to say, this is what I want to go, this is what I want to be, this is what I want to achieve. So for me, that was always a reminder. And I always say to people, write your goal down. Write your goal down. I've got my goal of what I want to achieve. I've got a current goal that I want to achieve. I've got it. I always have it on me on a piece of paper. I always look at that goal, say, this is what I want to achieve. This is what I'm working hard for. That becomes my road and stuff. And I always used to carry that goal wherever I am, so that goal was a reminder of what I want to achieve and where I want to take my life and how I want to turn my life to transform my life and what I want to be doing. It's important we have those things, because if it's not written down anywhere, the difficult circumstances, in the difficult circumstances, those goals will disappear. We're never going to remember them. We're never even going to think about them. And when I talk about finishing, I'm not just being all blasé about it and say, yo, you need to finish. Life's tough. Life's difficult. It was difficult when I went to university, and it was difficult when we moved to the UK, and I was struggling, and I failed my high school, and everybody around me, I'd passed the exams, and you know how us Zambian people are like. We're like, everybody's like, "Upashire shinga," and I'm like, ooh. And everybody else was doing so well, and I wasn't. And I still remember I was living in Newport, South Wales, and there was a group, and I actually went to this party which was put on by one of the Zambian families, and everybody else had done so well. They'd passed, and I was the only one who had not passed. I was the only one who had not passed their exams. So that was quite, in itself, that was heartbreaking at that particular time. But I had to look at, what do I need to do with my life? What do I want to achieve in my life? And I've achieved a lot more than some of those people who did really well in my high school, because I set a goal to go to university, and that empowered me to do great things in my life. And that empowered me to do wonderful, amazing things. Despite failing my high school exams, I was able to transform my life. And 3 years after failing my high school exams, I went to university. And 6 years after failing my high school exams, I graduated from university. And 10 years after failing my high school exams, my first book, Arise and Shine, was published. Okay, and my first book, Arise and Shine, was published in 2017. Now, fast forward again. 5 years since my publication of Arise and Shine, my next book, Finding Your Voice, is going to be published on the 21st of July, because I had this belief in me that as long as I finish what I start, nothing is ever going to stop me. As long as I've got a clear destination of where I want to be, nothing is ever going to stop me. As long as that destination is in my mind and I'm looking at how I can achieve it, nothing is ever going to stop me. But I knew from the bottom of my heart that the only way that my life could be transformed is if I finish what I started. When I even dared to say I want to go to university, so many people laughed. I remember one of the advice that somebody gave me was, do you want to go and look for a job in a supermarket? Maybe you can do that. But I was determined. I was determined to finish what I started. And you know what? When I finished what I started, the same people were telling me to go to look for a job in the supermarket came over and said, we knew you could do it. We knew you could transform your life. And my friends, these are the things that I want you to know. The dream that you have in you, God did not put that dream in you for no reason at all. The dream that you have in you, God did not give you that dream so that you can just think about it. I understand when so many people struggle. When I started primary school, I was bullied from day one. I grew up not believing I was good enough. I grew up not believing I can achieve anything great. Personal self-confidence is something that I got to learn later on in life. I had to have that dream to say, I need to finish my race. I need to run my race. I need to get to the finish line. And when I got to the finish line, I saw so many wonderful things that life can bring. But I was only able to enjoy those things because, as I'm saying this evening, because I got to the end. And my friends, the message for you today is that let us run the race. Let us not stop halfway through. The people who stop halfway through, these people never get to see where their talent can take them. I want us to know where the talents can take us. I want us to know where our lives can be. In conclusion, we're all here for a reason. We're all here for a purpose. We all got things that we want to do. We've all got things we want to achieve. We all got places we want to be. Or we got desires of how we want our lives to look like. But so many people simply never follow through or finish the things that they start. And because they never finish the things that they start, they never get to celebrate the glory that their talents can bring. I want you to know that the dream that you have in you was given to you so that you can give it life. Yes, there are going to be trials and tribulations along the way. It comes with life. It is part of the process. I want you to know, don't cut corners. Don't look at what other people are doing. Don't compare yourselves with others. Understand that you're on a journey that was given to you to undertake. That your responsibility is to make sure that you get to the end. Your responsibility is to make sure that you've got enough fuel in the tank to get to your destination. Understanding that success is not what you have. Success is who you become. Make sure that you're not sidetracked by other people's materialism. You're not sidetracked by what other people are achieving. You keep the eyes on the prize. You keep the eyes on the goal. That you're not sidetracked by instant gratification. That stops us. Instant gratification stops us from achieving the things that we want to achieve. So let's make sure that instant gratification does not stop us from reaching our destination. So many people with great talents have fallen on the wayside because they're constantly looking at what other people around them are achieving. This evening, my friends, I said, let us go out there. Let us become the best we can be. Let us make sure we're going for that when we say, I'm in this for a long haul. That I will not quit because it's tough. I will not quit because I don't understand. I do not quit because I don't see the way. I will stop when I'm finished. I will stop when I get to the end. I'll not just be a starter, but I'll also be a finisher of the work that I do. That I will go out there and make sure that in all that I do, despite the circumstances, despite what I've gone through, despite where I've come from, I can do wonderful things. If that boy, Frank Saliki from TV Bakwetu, can be a motivational speaker in the UK, when English is not his first language, I can do anything. When that Frank Saliki, who was called all sort of names, can be a best publishing author, I can do so many great things. You're designed for accomplishment, you're engineered for success, and you're endowed with a seed of greatness. And my friends, this has been Frank Saliki with Thursday Night Motivation. I hope you've learned, you've got something that will inspire you to take your life to a new level. Something that I will inspire, that might have reminded you just how special of a human being you are. And I hope it's inspired somebody who was going through a more difficult time and were thinking about giving up. I hope it will help you on your journey to where you need to be. Set those goals. Remember in all that you do. Um, Finishing what you start will completely transform your life. And I come here every Thursday at 21 hours Zambian time to inspire you, to help you along on your way, to do wonderful, great things in your life. We're living in a world where there's so many negative things that we forget how special we all are. You've got a talent that was given to you. Go out there, nurture it. It will take you to places that you never even dreamed of. When I talk about the things that I do, I don't talk about it lightly. I know where I've been. I know I've been in places, the law of the law, where you think taking your life is the only option that you have. So I understand when people are going through a difficult moment. I sympathize with people that are going through a difficult moment. And the one reason that I do this is to come here every day, inspire you. And some people look at me and say, if he can do it, so so can I. And for me, that is enough. If somebody can just look at me, the simple boy from Luansha, can do the things that I'm doing today. I want to inspire so many people from Luansha and all over Zambia to be able to do so many great things. So go work on yourself, work on your dreams, and remember, finish what you start. God bless you. God bless our country, and God bless your dream.